Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Global Championship powered by GT Omega. We are finally back here on the PC platform and finally ready to get our first race underway at the Red Bull Ring. My name is Luke Etheridge. Joining me in the commentary box is Joshua Davis. Josh, how are you doing?
Yes, hello Luke, hello everybody. Thank you all for tuning in once again. We're finally back after a few incidences last time out. But we're back for the race. We're going back from the qualifying results from the last 2 weeks. An absolutely fantastic qualifying session it was. It was Jack Laverty snatched pole position away right at the death from Lenny Papinta there. So close. An absolutely fantastic qualifying session it was. And we should be in for an absolutely fantastic race as it should be. Austria is one of those tracks that's absolutely fantastic to commentate over. Brilliant to drive as well. Very fast corners. Very fast straights. Very many overtaking opportunities as well. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of drivers that can get some good results there. And yeah, can't wait for the race to get going. It should be an absolutely fantastic one.
Yeah, certainly. We saw qualifying was incredibly close just 2 weeks ago. We will play you the end of Q3 very shortly just to try and rejog everyone's memories about all that stuff that's happening. Obviously, there's been the well-publicised game issues. Big thanks to Cody's for giving us the chance to do this on the beta build and be able to get this race underway. And it might be interesting to see how the drivers cope, because a lot of them took this opportunity to just have a bit of a break from playing the F1 game. Now they've got to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, a few people decided to take a break. Obviously, there was a few events that did happen. The PSGL event that took place as well. So there's been a few drivers involved with that. But a lot of these drivers, I'm sure, have been practicing a little bit for it just to get themselves ready and raring to go. But yeah, I think it was a good idea just to take that short break just to get everything freshened up, and everything should be all okay. So hopefully feel back and all refreshed after the Easter break, which just happened a few days ago. So yeah, hopefully it should be a fresh start for everyone. Obviously, qualifying positions, some people may not be happy with it. Some people may absolutely be ADRT. We'll definitely be happy with that alongside Parnell. Absolutely fantastic qualifying for them with pole position for Jack Laverty, of course. I think FVR and Shazoo ET8 maybe won't be too happy with where they're starting at the back of the field, but hopefully they can try and drag them way up the field, and it should be a very tasty one to look forward to. But yeah, we should look out for a few of the drivers in there, especially the likes of Jack Laverty can try and get it from pole position to try and convert it into win. Lenny Papinta looking fantastic. The TF10 guys, Oscar Villacampa and Marcus Short should be absolutely fantastic to watch as well, alongside a lot of the favourites, RH and Race Clutch. There's so many drivers that can pull some amazing performances out here, so it really should be an absolutely fantastic affair.
Yes, it should be indeed. As Josh said, I'm really looking forward to this race. Josh is as well, I'm sure. All the drivers are now. It was 2 weeks ago when we had the qualifying session. Plenty has gone on since then. So we're going to give you a quick reminder. The GT Omega moment of the week was obviously from qualifying last time out. So we're just going to play the last couple of minutes of Q3 to remind you how Jack Laverty clinched pole position.
He has to. He won't have enough time to go for one more go into the pit lane as he comes towards the final corner. Comes back in Sipos, completely on the limit there. Across the line, Sipos pole position, 3.028. Stachlik has gone quicker, but it's going to be very tight. He makes a little bit of a mess of turn one. Stachlik went quicker into Q2. Ruben Pedreño puts it into P3 for Race Clutch. Cannot make it a 1-2, so Stachlik does block that 1-2 so far, but he's 92 thousandths down in towards sector 1. He has to make this lap count if he wants pole position away. He's gone quicker in Q2. Can he make it done in Q3?
Yeah, that's going to be intriguing indeed. Jack Laverty heads towards the finish line, puts himself up into second place there. Fantastic final sector for him. Villacampa now shoots himself up into third position. Marcus Short comes across the line. He couldn't improve at all. What can Stachlik do? He's 14 thousandths of a second down, and this is going to be it for him. He's not got enough fuel. I don't think he'll have enough ERS to get another lap in, so it's going to have to be a mighty final few corners. Papinta does find enough time. Goes fastest of everyone on a 102.997. It's an invalidation for Stachlik. Fifth is the best he can do. Sipos can't find any improvements. Checkered flag is out in this session. Pedreño's invalidated, so he's heading back towards the pits. It's going to be sixth, the best he can possibly do. In Thomas Harvey is purple in sector 2 at the moment. Might have just gone a tad deep though into turns number 7 and 8. What can the sole VSR driver remaining in this session doing? We said you needed a 102 to get pole position. That is what Pinter has done at the moment. Coming through the final corners, Thomas Harvey, he's invalidated. Carter Lundy's backed off as well. Laverty goes fastest of everyone, 102.991 from Jack Laverty. Marcus Short, can he find any more time? He goes up into 5th, and that is going to be it for this session. We thought Lenny Papinter had just done enough to get pole position. In the end, though, Jack Laverty snatches it by 6 thousandths of a second. There we go then, that was the final moments of Q3, an incredibly close session, as it was really, across all the 3 sessions. Jack Laverty then taking pole position for tonight's race. A brilliant performance by Lenny Papinter to get alongside him. And TF10, they'll be very impressed. Oscar Villacampa and Marcus Short both in the top 5, 3rd and 5th respectively, with Patrick Sipos in the middle. We've said it already, being such a short track, Josh, 62, 63 seconds for a lap time. We always knew it was going to be a fantastically close qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. So Austria always brings that special little something in qualifying, obviously from the nature of the track. 8 corners in total, 62, 63 seconds it takes to do a tour of the lap. So it was always going to be a very, very special one. And obviously Parnell will be absolutely over the moon with how Jack performed in that. Alongside Lenny Papinter, no disrespect to ADRT, I didn't think they'd be that far up the field. I think they'd probably be in around the midfield. So they've definitely been absolutely fantastic with getting Lenny up into the front row. Alongside TF10, they've had a fantastic qualifying with 3rd and 5th. Oscar Villacampa taking the top spot on the 2nd row, and then Marcus Short the top spot on the 4th row. So he's done absolutely fantastic there to get themselves up there as well. Alongside RHG, maybe a little bit disappointed with Stachelek in P6 as well. Just couldn't really get his final few runs going. And obviously Ulas Zildjian getting knocked out by less than 1,000th of a second on the medium compound tyres. Absolute heartbreak for the Turkish driver, but hopefully he can try and make his way up the field. Obviously he is starting on the alternate tyres, and if you like to say it, the back marker's pole position, if you like, on P11, the free choice of tyres, so you can get away with it with the alternate strategy. But obviously everyone with fresh soft tyres is going to be tough to try and follow at the start, but maybe the strategy will pay out in the end to the RHG driver. But hopefully it should be a very, very good race as well. A lot of these guys obviously race clutch as well, 4th and 7th, they'll be looking to try and put a few surprises on a few people's faces, but it definitely looks good for the likes of TF10 at the moment to try and take home the top spot so far, and try and take the lead in the constructors going into the next round, which is Imola.
Yeah, Imola will be the next round of the season. 10 rounds, of course, here. We're going to have some lovely track guides for you, we believe, starting with the next round as well, seeing how the pros do things. A couple of changes to the driver lineup from what we had in qualifying the last time around. Nardi Perez, he is going to be driving this time out. He's replacing Modesto Mena, who's having wheel issues, and there has also been PC issues for Milan in the Shazoo lineup, so he's going to be replaced by driver who has now joined the FES Esports squad, but was a member of Shazoo, Vadim Svetkov. So they're coming into things a bit fresh. We saw the top 10 there at the end of that qualifying session. Laverty, Papinter, Villacampa, Sipos, Short, Stachelek, Pedrino, Martins, Harvey and Lundy. Looking at some of those outside the top 10, you've already mentioned him. Ulas Azildrim was looking very quick, as were both R8G drivers in the first session, just sort of tailed off, and Ulas missing out by less than 1,000th of a second, set an identical time to, I believe it was Marcus Short in Q2 a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately for him, missed out on the top 10. Fortunately for him, though, gives you the free choice of strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. So just such an heartbreak there for Ulas Azildrim. Just didn't quite get it going. Well, he did get it going. He was absolutely fantastic on the medias, but just didn't find that extra 1,000th of a second, which would have got him through. Obviously, the reason why he was in P11 was he got to the line second. He set his lap second to Marcus Short, who just sneaked in there, and I believe there's a few hearts racing at the TF10 camp. But yeah, very, very fantastic job there from TF10, and especially, obviously, I think, yeah, Ulas Azildrim would definitely kicking himself after that one. But hopefully he can try and get himself sorted for the race. It should be looking good. We know how talented of a driver he is. Obviously, F1 Esports Challengers driver this season, so we know how good he is on the wheel. So he's absolutely fantastic, to say the least. So hopefully he can try and get some points today. So I think that'll be a very, very good chance for R8G tonight. Obviously, we know the caliber of Ulas and the likes of Piotr as well. So it should be a very, very good day for them. But Yeah, it should be fantastic to see, but we can only speculate at this point in time, so we'll have to wait in 36 laps time.
Yeah, 36 laps, which of course will settle everything. Shouldn't be too long before we do get this session underway. I believe all the drivers are now in the lobby. We've already mentioned fresh choice of tyres for everyone, even if we hadn't have had the issues with the game a couple of weeks ago. That still would have been the way. Bit like most tracks on this game, Austria, very straightforward, soft-medium strategy. The important thing for those medium runners, which we'd expect the bottom 10 to be, is keeping within DRS range in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, that's going to be a very, very tough ask. Obviously, with the fresh soft compound tyres, the top 10 will have one. It's definitely going to be very, very tough for those guys to stick in the DRS, but they're going to have to try it very, very hard to stick with them. Obviously, with the nature of the track and with the traffic that's going on, maybe a little bit easier than a few may think, but it's definitely going to be a tough one, obviously, to try and stick in there. It's going to be very, very tough, but with the caliber of the drivers in the bottom 11 and even in the top 10, it's very, very doable for them to stick up in there. But it's we could never know. It's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, it should be a very, very good one. And we're about to get underway in a few moments' time.
Yeah, shouldn't be too long, folks, before we get this underway. Make sure to check out our sponsors as well, GT Omega, for all your sim seating needs. If you want to get yourself building your own rig, who knows? Maybe when it comes for time for Season 2, you might be able to join yourself along with this. We could tell you that things at the moment are looking quite overcast at the Red Bull Ring. Whether we are going to see any rain in the race, that might always spice things up. It's all going to be about sticking in the DRS and just the undercut, quite powerful around here. It's going to make for an interesting race.
Yeah, undercut very, very powerful over here. So we may be seeing maybe a few of the medium runners maybe try and sneak in a few laps earlier than the soft compound tyres. That's quite possible, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, you probably would expect the soft compound tyres to go in before the mediums. Obviously, the wear is not great, but it's not terrible around here. It's fairly doable to get a few good laps in on the soft compound tyres, but the mediums should last a little while longer. But yeah, strategy is everything around all these races on the calendar, especially in league racing. It's absolutely critical you get it right week in, week out. So it should be very, very interesting with how everything plays out with the strategy. But raw pace and strategy is what you need as a driver, and I think a lot of these drivers have this.
Yeah, definitely. Won't be too long before we are then getting ourselves underway. The formation lap is just starting now. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready. Let's get ready for some action here in the... let's get ready for some action in the championship then. GT Omega then, powered by GT Omega, the Global Championship at the Austrian Grand Prix. And let's take a look then at the track that all the drivers will be going around. The Red Bull Ring, one of the most historic tracks actually in Formula 1, despite obviously only making recent returns over the last few years. Those three DRS zones around the 4.318 kilometre track are just going to make things very interesting indeed. It's going to make it quite hard for the drivers to escape from some of the others. As we take a look at what strategy they've gone for, it's what we expected, Josh. Top 10 on the softs we knew about, bottom 10 on the mediums we could have predicted.
Yeah, fairly straightforward. Everyone looking to try and go on the ultimate strategy in the bottom 11. So no real shocks about that one. So it should be fairly straightforward from there. The soft compound tyres definitely been looking to try and bolt away as quickly as they possibly can. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting one. Jack Cleverty on pole position for the Parnell team. Lenny Papinta in P2 for ADRT. Oscar Villacampa in P3. Those Aston Martins looking quite menacing as they make their way up in towards turn 2, I'm sure. But Patrick Sipos as well in P4 for the Alpine team, looking to try and get a little bit of racy with the likes of Villacampa, Papinta and Lafferty. So should be a very, very exciting one. And we're about to get ready on the grid for the first round of TGC. And it should be an absolutely fantastic race and a fantastic season we'll have ready to go for this season.
Yeah, certainly. Jack Laverty then with the view they all want to have on that run down towards turn number 1. Will he manage to hold on to the lead? Lenny Papinta set that brilliant lap towards the end of qualifying 2 weeks ago. Wasn't quite enough to get him onto the front. Well, onto the front of the grid. He is still, though, on the front row. You can just see there the Shizou drivers, Marquis and Svetkov in the background. Not the greatest of sessions for Shizou. Not the greatest, really, either for ET8. Both of them teams, seeing both of their drivers getting knocked out in the first qualifying session. We are going to wait then for the lights to come on here to get the Global Championship underway. They go out and we get this Austrian Grand Prix started, and it seems like a pretty decent start then from Lenny Papinter alongside Jack Laverty. He's got enough of his nose ahead to make it awkward for the AlphaTauri man, but it is Jack Laverty that comes out ahead there. One of the Mercedes, I believe that's Moldovan, just getting pushed off in the background, and straight away Papinter trying to get in the slipstream of our race leader, but it is Laverty. Papinter via camber having to fight off Patrick Sipos at the moment with the race clutch man trying to make some moves, and likewise Marcus Short is finding it a bit difficult alongside Peter Stauchalek at the moment. Those two going side by side on the run down towards turn number 4. Stauchalek outbreaks himself into the back of Via Camper, and surely, Josh, he's going to have to come into the pits.
Yeah, and that is damage for Piotr Stauchalek. A horrible start to the season for him with that front wing damage early on, as he's now getting swarmed by the likes of Harvey Martins and Carter Lundy, as well as his teammate. It's all going wrong for a Polish driver. Just an unfortunate start for him, but a great start there from Jack Laverty. Papinter got him on the lights. They went side by side into turn 1, but Laverty with the racing line got the job done. Patrick Sipos as well doing fantastically to get up into P3, who took Oscar Villacampa around the outside. They still went into battle down into turn 2, got the outside line, did Sipos, and he got the job done on the Spaniard. So now they can try and battle away, try and stick with each other to try and catch Papinter and Laverty. But an awful start for the likes of Stachelek, Miklovic, and two Shazoo drivers as Vetkov and Marquis, who are both in the pit lane for front wing damage. An awful start for them, but it's definitely been a great start for the likes of Jack Laverty, who leads this Grand Prix after lap 2.
Yeah, you can see there the position gains and position losses. Unsurprisingly, Stechelek, the biggest loser then, dropping down 11 positions, and Moldovan and Nardi Perez, both of them just keeping it clean in the background, managing to gain 3 places. Biggest winners to further up the field, both VSR drivers. The McLarens getting up 2 places, with Thomas Harvey now in 7th and Duncan Hoffland in 11th place, and the second car on that set of the medium tyres. So might be one to watch out later. Ulas Azildrim leading out of those that are on those mediums. So even though his teammates had a bit of a bad start, you'd still say that R8G aren't in the worst situation with Azildrim at the moment, and he's hounding Carter London despite having the tyre disadvantage. You would traditionally think at this point in the race, but Pinter is in second still behind Jack Laverty, leads this race. This is the first time then that we are going to see the DRS being used. One of the 3 DRS zones on this track, along the straight into turn 1, into turn 3, and into turn 4, and it is those latter 2 where you generally see more of the overtaking, as Villacampa and Sipos are diving side by side with each other. Must have been a great exit from turn number 1 for Villacampa to manage to get that move done in the DRS train.
Yeah, and then Patrick Sipos got away with it. I think Sipos just outbroke himself into turn 2, went very, very wide. Villacampa shot it down the inside. Brilliant move there from the Spaniard, but Sipos just about got it done, and that is an incident. That is Vetkov in the wall, unfortunately, at turn 1, but he's decided to retire on track. An unfortunate day for him and for Shazoo as well. But we move over to the top 4 battle. Villacampa looking much better than Patrick Sipos at the moment. Sipos just not getting into groove so far in these first opening laps. Villacampa looking much better at the moment, but Papinter doing well just to keep with him at the moment is Papinter versus Jack Laverty. Thomas Harvey setting a fast lap of the Grand Prix with a 5.894. A little bit of a nervousness at the back end for Lenny Papinter as they make their way up the hill. Here he comes then, DRS and ERS wide open, and immediately shuts it off. Does he want to try anything into turn 2? Does the Frenchman? No, he's not. He's going to wait a little while longer, and there goes Patrick Sipos as well, pushing that Williams car up the hills. They make their way into turn 3. Another opportunity for Papinter if he wants to try and go for it. Miklovic fast lap of the Grand Prix, and once again Papinter's just going to bide his time, which is usually the case in league racing. You just want to bide your time, don't want to make any early lunges just so early on. So you just want to keep it calm, keep it collected, and you should be in with a good chance of some good points. But right now, Jack Laverty just holding on for the moment in time, but Lenny Papinter hot on his heels.
Yeah, Papinter right on the back of Laverty then, happy to stay there. We saw a bit of argy-bargy coming through turn number 3 between Carter Lundy and Jonah Martins on the previous run through there, and in that allowed Ulas Azildrim and Lundy to both get ahead of the Ferrari, so he's going to be under some pressure soon. And you can see now as we look on board with Duncan Hoffland, same point system as is used in real Formula 1 here. That includes top 10 for the fastest lap, so yeah, might be a bit of a awkward race now for Jonah Martins. Last car out of those that started on a set of the soft tyres. Still expect them to be doing better than the mediums at this moment in time. As the race goes on, that might be changing though, as down the inside there, Lenny Papinter and Patrick Sipos going side by side, and this is good news for the Porno racing driver of Jack Laverty. He's led since the start of the race. If these two start battling, it might just allow him to build a bit of a lead.
Yeah, Sipos is very, very eager to try and get past Lenny Pepinter at this moment in time. I've just seen him in a few laps. He's just been trying to have a look on that Williams, who's desperate to try and get up into that P2. Maybe he thinks he's just a little bit quicker than the Frenchman at this moment in time, but it cost him a little bit of time, did Pepinter battling away with Sipos. So I think Sipos just needs to sit back a little bit, just let them race a little bit more, just let some breathing room happen in the race, and it should be all fine from there as they enter the final corner. Laverty actually going very, very wide out of the exit of the final corner, does get away with it, but Pepinter with the DRS getting a very, very good one as Zildjian fast up at Grand Prix on the medium for the 5.675 added to his name. Pepinter with the DRS once again, but under pressure from Sipos as well. Here comes Pepinter, not wasting any time this time, round the outside, which turns into the inside corner, and there goes Pepinter up into the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. Laverty does not have an answer, and Pepinter up in the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, so Pepinter then takes the lead of this race. You get a feeling they're not really pushing too hard at the moment, though. You can see the ERS battery there on the left-hand side of the telemetry at the bottom of the screen. 94% as he was running through turn number 4 there for Lenny Pepinter. He's not pushing too much, and I think Jack Laverty wasn't too bothered about not being in the lead at this point in the race. Quite happy to just stick back. Also, likewise, with a full battery. And the other sign of how much they're pushing at the moment is the fact that this man, Ulis Zildjian, on the set of medium tyres, is setting the fastest laps of the race. If they were really going for things, you wouldn't be expecting him to be able to keep up as much as he can, as most of the field is in a train, and the Shizou nightmare continues. Harlan Marquis, he retires at the exit of the pit lane then. Both Red Bulls, both Shizou drivers out of this race, and you can just see how close Zildjian is onto the back of Cartalondi. Will Jack Laverty bother going for the lead back this time? He has got the DRS open. Well, no, he hasn't got the DRS open, and neither has Patrick Sipos. All quite happy to just stick in this train for now. Suggest they're thinking about later, understandably. Once we see the pit stops starting to come, these guys will have to push it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ulis Zildjian, absolutely fantastic on the medium compound tyres so far. He's really keeping well with these drivers. He has a little bit of a moment under braking into Sosh Gold. They're lucky to keep the wheels running in a straight line, but a little bit of a hectic moment there. But he's pushing quite hard on these first set of soft medium compound tyres, which is really good to see. Obviously, the fast up of the Grand Prix so far goes to him. He's absolutely flying at the moment, so he's really knuckling down from his poor qualifying position on the soft compound tyres, but he's doing really well at the moment. He's keeping well with the other PR driver of Carter Lundy. It's Jonah Martins. Alexa coming to the pits quite early to the soft compound tyres. So I'm wondering if he's trying for an undercut on everyone at the moment. Maybe even the hard top compound tyres may be into play. But here comes Jack Laverty on the back of Lenny Pepinter, and it's to me, to you. Lenny Pepinter has to admit defeat, and Jack Laverty gets the job done as Patrick Sipos down the inside goes the Alpine driver, forces Pepinter off the track into turn 2. Lenny Pepinter does rejoin quite aggressively, but it is Patrick Sipos who gets the job done. That maybe looked at by the stewards as Oscar Villacampa has a little bit of a run for his money down the inside of Pepinter, cannot get it done, but Sipos very eager to get the job done here, and Sipos up into P2 with Jack Laverty in P1. A terrible corner there for Lenny Pepinter, losing 2 positions into 1 corner.
Yeah, we nearly had a three wide battle there going into that corner, but in the end, Sipos managing to get ahead of Pepinter, and Laverty also getting past the Frenchman. So a bit of a swap round at the front of the field. You did see a lap ago Duncan Hoffland actually managing to get ahead of Jonah Martins. There was a tiny bit of contact, I think, between the two of them. No damage done, but Jonah deciding, I'm just getting forced down the field. It might as well be worth me coming into the pits. He's the lead car out of those that has pitted, but he's going to be leading that train with himself, Stachelek and Miklovic, who, on that set of soft tyres, will have to make another pit stop in this race. Could really do with a safety car, those drivers, to try and bring themselves back into play. It all calms down on this occasion. Oh, I say that. Villacampa's gone into the back of Pepinter there. He's not enjoying himself through turn number 3 as Lenny Pepinter. And there you go, Oscar Villacampa and Marcus Short both getting ahead of the Williams driver. We said the one earlier might get looked at by the stewards. I'd be very surprised if that one didn't. And Pepinter, things just going from bad to worse over the last lap and a half for the Frenchman. He's now all the way down in 15th place, and what looked like a possible victory just 2 minutes ago. He'll be lucky to get any points from here.
Yeah, so unfortunate there for Pepinter, who was running so well, got up into the lead and just gets bullied into turn 2, sorry, not sure what happened to him actually, but I'm not sure what happened through those corners. So unfortunate to see, but this gives a little bit of a breathing room from the likes of Lavity, Villacampa, and Marcus Short, and the rest of the train from first all the way down up into about P13, P14 even. Nardi Perez having a look on Armengol as well in the FER team, but here comes Patrick Sipos, wants to try and get the job done. Down the inside he goes, easy as you like, on the AlphaTauri driver, and Patrick Sipos up into the lead of the Grand Prix, and now Jack Lavity's chance and just try and catch up to him as best he can, stay in the DRS as best he can, and maybe try again on a later occasion. But a brilliant drive so far from the Aston Martin team of TF10. Oscar Villacampa P3, Marcus Short in P4, Ruben Petreno in the other Alpine Race Clutch team in P5. Thomas Harvey and VSR actually doing a very good job as well, 6th and 9th going to them, but Patrick Sipos taking the lead up into turn 3 and getting the job done, and now Jack Lavity has to try and push once again to try and get closer.
Yeah, Sipos using quite a lot of ERS, so would not be surprised to see him sticking to the right-hand side of the track and coming into the pits at the end of lap number 10. Patrick Sipos is one of our front runners then to come into the pits, and it sounds like it was the dreaded D word for Lenny Papinto. Some of the other drivers might not have been fully aware of where his car was, leading to some of those incidents, but quite an early stop here, clearly going for the undercut. There's no doubt that the medium tyres can make it these 26 laps. And there goes Patrick Sipos coming out into plenty of free air, as that, spinning down and dropping down the field, is Carter Lundy without a front wing. Quite a long way down the straight, though, to have an issue there. So I wonder if there's been a bit of contact part way down the field. It's looking good for one of the Parnell drivers. The other one not enjoying himself at all.
Yeah, not sure what happened there to Carter Lundy without a front wing. I'm sure he's really not happy with that one, but maybe an incident down the back straight, maybe a little bit of a braking too early from a few drivers, maybe braking a little bit too late was Carter as well, but unfortunate to see there. But Parnell with one driver at the top and another down in P13, not scoring out any points so far, and with this pit stop he might find himself in dead last, so not a good day for the Canadian, as there goes Villacampa into the leaders. Jack Lavity decides to pit at the end of this lap alongside Ruben Petreno in the pits in P5 onto the medium compound tyres. There you go. So now it's a TF10 1-2, and I think they'll be trying to play with each other. Villacampa has a little bit of a moment into turn 1, and Villacampa lets Marcus Short go. So now Marcus Shorts leads this Grand Prix, and it's a TF10 1-2 and a VSR 3-4. Looking really good for TF10 and VSR right now, before the pit stop of penalties, and only the top 3 left on the soft compound tyres now.
Yeah, just look at the power of the undercut around this circuit. Patrick Sipos has come out about 3 seconds ahead of Jack Lavity. I didn't see any damage on Jack's car. I can only assume that he's made some sort of slight mistake somewhere on that outlap, because we said the undercut was good. I was not expecting it to be that good around here. Absolutely incredible that there by Patrick Sipos. So he's still obviously in the net lead of this race. We'll see how things work out once the 2 TF10 drivers come into the pits. I think they'll be working together. We'd be surprised if at least one of them doesn't decide to come in. No, they are both staying out, and in fact it's Thomas Harvey who will be coming into the pits then on this lap. Also, Duncan Hoffland has managed to work his way ahead of Ulas Zildrim. That's going to be one to watch out for later on in the race, of course, the battle of those drivers on the alternate strategy. Sipos, though, an absolutely dream strategy for him at the moment. Seems like he's managed to drop Jack Lavity, and that's going to be oh so important, because we know how powerful the drag reduction system can be.
Absolutely. So yeah, Patrick Sipos having a really good strategy so far, pitting early and really pushing on his outlap to try and get in front of Jack Lavity. Cleared him by 3 seconds, but Jack Lavity just got that back up to about 2.7, so he has been pushing as well on his outlap. But yeah, a really good drive there from Patrick Sipos. A really good opportunity from Race Clutcher to get the job done on in the pit stops. And now Villacampa and Shorts just need to try and work together to maybe just try push a little bit longer to try and get the overcut to work in their favour if they can, and maybe just get those extra few seconds up on Patrick Sipos and the likes of Jack Lavity, maybe Ruben Petreno. And as I say that, there goes Marcus Shorts into the pit lane for TF10. Duncan Hoffman and Ulas Zildrim decide to carry on respectively, but Ulas Zildrim having a great race so far from 11th on the grid, now finds himself on the podium in P10 and hunting down Duncan Hoffman in P2 as Villacampa has broken away from the DRS, but Hoffman might not get this. Yes, he actually doesn't with the DRS, so this should be a fairly easy move for Ulas Zildrim if he wants to have it done. There goes Ruben Pedreño with the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Ulyassis Zildjian thinks better of it as Miklovic gets the first penalty of the day. Marcus Shorts comes out in P13. Quite a far way down from Pedreño, Lavati and Sipelson, and actually Thomas Harvey is undercutted him, so the overcut really not strong here around Austria, and now it's maybe looking a little bit iffy for Villacampa in the lead.
Yeah, you'd expect Villacampa to end up dropping behind his teammate, of course, after all of this. Duncan Hoffland and Ulyassis Zildjian having a right old ding-dong going into turn number 4 there. They're costing themselves a bit of time. They've kept the gap at around a second to Villacampa. At this point in the race, though, you would expect the medium tyres to be the one to go for. They were battling hard for second place. They're soon going to be battling hard for the lead as Villacampa becomes the final runner that started on a set of soft tyres to dive into the pit. So it is Hoffland, Zildjian, Haladej, Puerto, Moldovan, Armengol, Perez, and then it'll be Sipos, the first one of those that have pitted. Patrick Sipos in the net lead of this race, looking extremely good indeed for him to claim the victory in round number 1 of TGC. Here comes Ulyassis Zildjian, then down the inside into turn number 3. This time he decides it's worth going for the move and makes it stick nice and easily. Zildjian into the lead, but for how long? Well, Duncan Hoffland think it's worth fighting back into turn number 4. Not on this occasion.
A little bit too far back is Duncan Hoffland on this occasion to try anything on Ulyassis Zildjian, but he's having a fantastic race so far as Ulas from 11th place on the field now finds himself leading the Grand Prix, obviously yet to pit, so there goes a factor in that as well, but he's having a great pace so far to keep up with the soft runners when before they pitted, and obviously with the medium compound tyre runners he's managed to overtake them quite quickly. Obviously was the leader, but he's done absolutely fantastically so far and doing a fantastic job, as well as the likes of the other ADRC driver Jan Haladej in P3, FBR Alvaro Puerto, who started from the bottom 5 in Q1, now finds himself in P4 alongside Marty Perez as well in P7, doing very, very well for the Alfa Romeo team. Jan Haladej as well, doing well. There goes Lenny Pepinta with a 3-second time penalty. Unfortunate to see. Duncan Hoffman getting much, much closer to the back of Ulyassis Zildjian. Not quite close enough on this occasion into turn 2. May fancies his luck into Slosh Gold of 3 if he's close enough. DRS wide open on the McLaren driver if he's close enough to try and make the move. There goes Marcus Shorts on Thomas Harvey in the background for the battle for P11, and he's got the job done on a purple sector 1. So boot with him. The Marcus Short is a man on a mission so far, making his way up the field, and his next target is Ruben Pedreño for the points.
Yeah, so Marcus Short trying to work his way up. It is, we haven't really spoke about Pedreño in this race too much, but all of a sudden he's got himself into a net 3rd place. Things looking pretty good for Race Clutch to get a fantastic start to the season. We said a couple of weeks ago we'd expect R8G and Race Clutch to maybe be the two teams at the front. R8G have got a driver leading the race at the moment, and Race Clutch have got a car in the net lead of the race with Patrick Sipos in 8th place, just trying to close his way up onto those medium runners who you'd be expecting probably to start coming into the pitch round about lap 20-21, maybe stretching it further 23, 24, 25 if they do want to be very aggressive on those softs towards the end. Marcus Short sets the fastest lap of the race, and now that he's got himself into a bit of free air, is Thomas Harvey close enough to try and fight back? Not on this occasion. In fact, I think Thomas is going to find himself defending here. Oscar Villacampa is going to think about sending one up the inside. Into turn number 3 goes the Aston Martin of Villacampa. A bit of wheel banging between of them. And Thomas Harvey just sticks ahead for now. But these two battling could allow Marcus Short to pull away, which is exactly what he would like. Whether that's going to be really good for the TF10 team to leave Oscar Villacampa in the dust, we'll have to wait and see. Lap number 17 of this race, though, and Zildjian just holding on from Duncan Hoffland for now. And you can see, now we're getting towards the middle of the race, things are really starting to settle down a bit. They're realising, getting into their rhythm, ERS usage is going up, and that could really cost you. If you lose ERS in this race, as in you go below 10%, and you've not got DRS, you're going to be a sitting duck.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's crucial that you save as much ERS as possible, as the likes of Nardi Perez has done. He's then to about 75% pushing on Pablo Armengol in front, as a lot of them in the 70s, and there has a little bit of a look there. Pablo Armengol is on his teammate Bogdan Moldovan, so a little bit of tasty affairs there going on at ET8, but a lot of these guys on the 70s, a few in the 60s. Duncan Hoffland on a full load of battery. Ulyassis Zildjian with the lowest of them all on 46%. So he's using a lot to just try and stay in front. So there's a little bit of maybe feels a little bit nervous with Duncan Hoffland just sitting in front, but he's not trying anything so far. Is Duncan? He's got a full tanker battery, so he's looking pretty okay so far. So just try and stick with the Haas driver of Ulas Zildjian, but it's looking pretty good so far for second down to seventh with the ERS deployment on a lot of these guys as they make their way onto lap 19 of 36. Should be coming in maybe in around 6, 7, 8 laps time for the soft compound tyres. 10, 9, 8 laps on the soft should be fairly simple around any track, to be honest. DRS wide open for Duncan Hoffland. Does he want to try anything on Ulas Zildjian? Does he want to use any of his ERS battery? He doesn't think he needs to. DRS is enabled for him. Does he want to have a look down the inside? But there goes the 3 wide moment between Jaladej and Puerto, and it sends Jaladej round. The other ADRT driver, who was looking very, very well, had a little bit of look down the inside, but so did Puetro on himself as well. Just hasn't ended well for Jaladej, and he sees himself down in P8. Unfortunate to say, but 3 wide moment into turn 2 when Hoffman didn't see it coming as Pablo Armengol gets in front of Alvaro Puetro, and it is an ET8 driver on the podium so far. But with Duncan Hoffman turning in, that was always going to have a door that's going to shut in his face, and it's just unfortunately seen worse for Jaladej. He's down to P8, but they still return to live and fight another day. But the top 2 have cleared them by 2 seconds now, and now there's a little bit of issues there as there goes actually Puetro into the pits for FBR, so he decides to pull the trigger a little bit early. Does not want to cause any more carnage in the front row, so he decides to pull into the pits from the overcut and pulls into the pits for the soft compound tyres. But there goes Duncan Hoffland for the lead as well and gets the job done. Duncan Hoffland leads this Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, Duncan Hoffland taking the lead on lap number 20. It just seemed a day late and a dollar short, as Martin Bundle would put it there from Alvaro Puerto. A bit late to go for the move on Jan Jaladej. Whether it was a half-hearted one, definitely turned out to be spinning Jaladej round. Both ADRT drivers have ended up facing in the wrong direction at points in this race. And there goes Nardi Perez. He said he was doing well on his ERS. He's putting in a good performance to say he's obviously been a last-minute substitute. Only found out he was racing yesterday with the issues that Modesto Meta was having. He's got himself up into 4th. And the battle keeps brewing further down the field for some of these other places. Harvey and Marcus Short have been swapping over the last few laps. And just ahead of these drivers by about 2.5 seconds. Laverty ahead of Pedreno as well. Do not write out Race Clutch from getting a 1-2 in this race. It'd be a fantastic achievement in the first race of TGC to get themselves with that 1-2, as now we see Moldovan come into the pits. Clearly, those on the medium tyres are clearly thinking it's all well and good having fantastic softs at the end of the race. We don't want to be too far back, though, so that we're not able to use them.
Yeah, definitely so. I think they're just starting to realise they just want to use them a little bit early on just to try and get the starts going. And there goes Patrick Zippos down the inside, and Nardi Perez for P4 there on the FDR driver gets the job done. But yeah, going back to that is also a little bit of a battle actually going on before I speak. Thomas Harvey getting the job done, and Marcus Short, but Marcus Short is still going to have a look on this. There goes Thomas Harvey, and there goes the other TF10 driver of Oscar Villacampa down the inside. Goes the Aston Martin driver, forces the McLaren driver a little bit on the curb, and Thomas Harvey has to concede that position. And Marcus Short getting the job done. Villacampa karting wise forces him up the inside, gets the job done, sees the gap and sends it. And Villacampa up into P9. But yeah, with the soft compound tyres going on, I think they just want to use them as well as they can to just try and keep up, obviously, with a lot of the undercut drivers from Patrick Zippos, Jack Laverty, Ruben Pedreno, etc., etc. They have been closed up quite a bit. And they want to try and use those soft compound tyres just to stay with the pace, and definitely with those fresh soft bolted on as Duncan Hoffland pits from P2, which takes Ulas Zildjian to the top of the timing screens as Duncan Hoffland comes out into P9 alongside Pablo Armengol. There goes Jonah Martins into turn 1 alongside Piotr Stachelek, who goes very, very wide into turn 1, but does get away with it. But yeah, with the soft compound tyres on, they can now try and push a little bit more. 22 of 36. They've got about 11, 12, 13 laps on the soft compound tyres. Should be fairly doable around here, but it's they're going to have to push with a little bit of care, but maybe controlled aggression on the soft compound tyres.
Yeah, they're going to maybe just one of those like we see in real life with the Pirelli tyres. Be a bit careful now when you're coming out of the pits, just to make sure you have got something to fight with later on. As you can see there, Puerto easily working his way past Lenny Capinto. That's Alvaro Puerto. One of the first drivers to come in off his set of mediums up into 14th. Ulas Zildjian is into the pits as Ruben Pedreno and Jack Laverty working their way past Nardi Perez. Pedreno getting ahead of Laverty on the last lap as well. So that's really good news for Race Clutch. In the net 1-2 as things stand, Duncan Hoffland clearly pushing hard to make this undercut work, has got himself a 3-second time penalty. We'll see how effective it has been. You'd expect him to be well clear of Ulas Azildrim as he comes out the pits. There's Azildrim just catching a glimpse of him as he crosses the pit limiter line. And yeah, Duncan Hoffland is about 3 seconds ahead of Ulas, and he's going to need to be at the end of the race because of that time penalty. And he is still only... He's only 12 seconds off the lead of this race. Definitely still got a part to play as the VSR driver. And you'd imagine Azildrim's got to be looking pretty tasty as well. Could we see someone from the alternate strategy get onto the podium?
It's definitely possible. It's going to be a very, very tough order with Thomas Harvey. Well, not a tough order actually. Thomas Harvey obviously in P6, but Duncan Hoffland in P7, of course, on the soft compound tyres. 6 seconds back on his teammate. He's going to have to push quite a bit to try and get the gap going, but it's going to be a tough order, but it can definitely be possible if they push now. 5.8 now, so about 2/10 a lap almost you're looking as Duncan Hoffland is trying to push on his teammate, but a masterful strategy there from Race Clutch to get themselves into a 1-2. Patrick Zippos in the lead, Ruben Pedreño in P2, but for how much longer as Jack Laverty is getting pushy on the Spaniard of Ruben Pedreño. Does he want to try anything into turn 2? Does he want to have a little bit of a sniff on the Alpine? He's going to think better of it, and the Thai driver just thinks a little bit more cleverer and thinks better of it into P3. He sits back, but yeah, masterful class from Race Clutch, of course, with their type of the Alpine Esports team. You would have thought that they probably would have been the smartest on the grid, and they definitely have been with the undercut that has paid off for them, and they see themselves in a 1-2 position.
Yeah, it's all looking very good at the moment for Race Clutch then in 1-2. Jack Laverty, the man who qualified on pole position 2 weeks ago when we had the qualifying session, he is in third. And these have got older tyres than Villacampa and Short and Thomas Harvey as well. So that could also be another feature to watch for at the end of this race. Could the two TF10 drivers manage to work their way up as well? Villacampa, not so long ago, was about 2.5 seconds off the back of Pedreño and Laverty. He's got that gap down to 1.7. But has used a lot of ERS in doing so. He's dragging Marcus Short and Thomas Harvey along. You've got to think it'll only be 5 or 6 laps before you've got some of these others trying to get involved. As here comes Jack Laverty then down the inside into turn number 3. Gets the move done on Ruben Pedreño. Has he just gone though a bit deep, the Alpha Tauri? He's not going to have DRS on the run down towards turn number 4. Didn't quite manage to perfect the overtake to keep that before the detection point. And you can see Pedreño not interested on this occasion. So Laverty gets himself back up into second. These two, in a way, could work together as long as they don't hold themselves up too much when they're doing the overtakes. Work together. They've got the DRS. Villacampa hasn't, and I think importantly at the moment, Hoffland and Azildrim don't have the DRS either, so that's going to negate their tyre advantage.
Yeah, definitely so. But yeah, brilliant move there from Jack Laverty up the inside of Pedreño and gets the job done. But yeah, with the tyre life that's going on for the likes of Duncan Hoffland, only 2 laps done on the soft compound tyres, but Villacampa and Marcus Short as the freshest in the bunch, 10 and 11 laps on those medium compound tyres, so there's no reason why they are closing up quite a bit to Pedreño. So there's definitely an opportunity for a podium here in TF10, but Thomas Harvey looking very, very racy on the back of the Aston Martin, just getting towed by the DRS.
Sorry to interrupt you, Josh. Contact between Pedreño and Laverty on the way towards turn number 4, and there's definitely an opportunity now for Villacampa to get on the podium because he's already got himself up into 3rd place, and I think Marcus Short's going to follow through as well. You can just see Laverty dropping down the field. Just looked like Pedreño outbraked himself a tiny bit there into the back of the Thai driver, and the Alpha Tauri, who was in 2nd, finds himself in 6th place all of a sudden. He's just got to try and keep his head down and get himself back focused into this situation. It's a 1-2 at the moment for Race Clutch with just over 10 laps to go. Bit of a controversial though 1-2 after that contact. TF10 are in 3rd and 4th, and Patrick Zippos picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's safe with that for now. Might just make things a bit dangerous later on.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very dangerous if the likes of Pedreño and the TF10 boys start to pick up the pace a little bit, and they have been for a little while now, so they have been really knocking on the door from the top 4, and that little contact has costed them, as there goes Thomas Harvey having a little bit of a look down the outside of Villacampa. Does he get the job done? He's getting very, very tight. A little bit of a touchy, but Villacampa with brilliant traction out of turn 2. Stachulek with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix going to the RHE team. Round the outside goes Thomas Harvey. Villacampa says, I do not want any of that, but he's still going to hold it. Round the outside goes Thomas Harvey. Down the inside goes Villacampa. Side by side, the British man versus the Spaniards, and there he goes then. Thomas Harvey, the winner in that one, and Thomas Harvey gets the job done into P4, but Marcus Short now is getting quite closer to Ruben Pedreño, and I wonder if Ruben will just maybe try and stay off the throttle, just go a little bit slower to just make sure that Patrick Sipos stays out of that 3-second gap with that penalty awarded. But yeah, definitely not a great plan there from race. Well, not an ideal position for Race Clutch with that penalty awarded, but definitely going to be very, very interesting, and already a few complaints going on in the chat with the Parnell side. So definitely very, very interesting with that contact between Jack Laverty and I believe it was Villacampa maybe. But yeah, very, very interesting. Ruben Pedreño, my apologies. But yeah, very, very interesting in the top 4 there. But they're very, very tight all the way through. But that is racing. Sometimes it's getting a little bit heated, but it's brilliant to see with 8 laps to go, and this is not over just yet.
Yeah, there's plenty of action going on in the midfield as well. You can see here Halliday, Puerto, Martens and Papinta, the last 2 of those on the set of the medium tyres, the others on the soft tyres, almost going 3 wide on the one down towards turn number 4. Surely that's not going to work out. Halliday has got himself clear. Martens and Papinta are just dropping back at the moment, and you can see there Puerto just getting the move done on the inside into turn number 6. Not a common place to see the overtake, but it is all working there. Yeah, definitely not ideal for Parnell at the moment. Ricardo Lundin with that incident earlier on as well. Jack Laverty now being spun around. I can't imagine they'll be too happy there. Laverty's dropped outside of the DRS range as well, so that's going to cost him later on. Thomas Harvey's got a brilliant run here on the back of Marcus Short, who himself has got a brilliant run on Ruben Pedreño. Are we going to be going 3 wide into turn number 3 once more? Pedreño and Short fighting with each other. Thomas Harvey maybe just giving this a bit of a wide berth, maybe thinking if there's some contact, he might be able to take advantage of it. Short gets second place, but for how long is he going to have that second place as Pedreño tries it all the way around the outside into turn number 4 and is just gently shoved over the curb. And I think Marcus has got that one for now. All this battling, all this fighting between those drivers towards the front has allowed Azildrim and Hofland to catch up. Azildrim's got no penalties. Jack Laverty's got some damage, so he's not going to provide too much of a challenge for the Haas driver. Azildrim can win this race.
Absolutely. So if there's a little bit of interesting moments that happened in the top 5 there, they can definitely get a podium, maybe even a race win, but it is crucial now that Marcus Short bolts away from Ruben Pedreño. He's just going to try and stick it down the inside as much as he can Pedreño, to just solidify that race win for Patrick Sipos, but it's crucial. Marcus Short gets away now, 25% of his DRS. Here comes Pedreño with the DRS. He's looking to try and go down the inside. He has to go down. There's a little bit of interesting connection on my side. Hopefully it's all okay on your side. Carlo Lundy with a time penalty to boot alongside Nani Perez as well, but Marcus Short lives to fight another day. 3.6 on the cards for the TF10 driver. Ruben Pedreño still remains in that P3 spot with Thomas Harvey in P4, really plugging away on Ruben Pedreño. This can still end up with a Race Clutch 1, a TF10 2 and a VSR 3, maybe even a TF10 2-3, you never know, as they make their way through around Worth curve and up towards rinse of 7. They're really, really close together between Pedreño and Harvey. It's getting quite tight out there. 6 laps to go, maybe even 5 after this one, and it's getting very, very tight, and the race win may not be home and dry for Patrick Sipos just yet. Marcus Short is pushing yellow flags, and there's a Zildrim.
Azildrim's completely lost it coming out the final corner, and that is a safety car. Just saw in the background of the camera there, the Haas spear off to the inside of the barriers at turn number 10. Ulas Azildrim is out of the race. We were bigging him up for a win just about 2 minutes ago. Clearly too eager on the throttle there. Azildrim out of this race. And what we said, possible win, possible podium, definite points, has been ruined. Now if you've got a penalty, you are not in a good situation at all, Mr. Sipos, Mr. Hofland, with those 3-second time penalties. You're going to find themselves dropping down the field. And what do you do here? Do you come into the pits off your mediums, go onto a set of softs at the end, or do you just try and hang it out and defend from the other drivers? We'd expect Safety cars to come in maybe lap 32, 33, so possibly only 3 laps of racing action to go. Not a lot of time to use those fresh softs if you do come into the pits, of course.
Absolutely, Patrick Sipos is deciding to pit, and obviously with that penalty, it may have just costed him the win. There goes Sipos into the pits. Shorts decides to stay out. Pedreño into the pits, a double stacking at Alpine. Thomas Harvey follows him in as well. Villacampa pits as well, so Marcus Short decides to stay out for the position there, for track position. That may be a good strategy if we can try and hold the pace from the soft compound tires. It's going to be a very, very tough order for young Marcus Short, but he can definitely get the job done, and looking likely to try and get his first race win here in TGC. The first winner ever at TGC. Duncan Hoffman stays out. ET8 Pablo Armengol, decides to stay out. So everyone from 4th down to 17th has pitted. Armengol, Hoffman and Short decide to stay out for this race. It's going to be very, very interesting and just so heartbreaking there from Zildjian. He's looking so good on the soft compound tires, just lost it at the final corner, and that was a huge crash there for RHG, and maybe not be scoring any points today, with 16th going to Peter Stachalik, and obviously with the penalties adding his way, may not be scoring points today, and with Lenny Pepinter in 17th, it's not looking good for him, but safety car out with only a handful of laps to go. This is going to get very, very tasty. Marcus Short in the lead, but it's going to be a little bit interesting with 17 lap hold medians compared to Duncan Hoffman's 9 laps. It's going to be very, very interesting until the end.
Yeah, he's you can just hear him there revving the engine up as much as possible, burning every bit of fuel. Those 17 lap mediums are not going to be nice to try and defend the lead with, possibly even into turn 1, definitely into turn number 3. Duncan Hoffman with a 3-second tyre penalty. Pablo Armengol started this race down in 16th position. 9 lap old softs, not that old at the moment, obviously going to struggle a bit more than some of those further back. He is in a very good place all of a sudden, you've got to think, in this race. A possible podium, maybe even a possible victory for the ET8 driver, and I don't think many of us would have expected that at the start of the day. Those are the penalties. Then you can see in the top 10 it is only Hoffland and Sipos with 3 seconds each. All those outside of the top 10 that have got penalties, you'd imagine any chance of them getting points is going to be extremely tough. Hoffland needs to hope he can get ahead of Short as soon as possible on this restart, and then just try and bomb away and hope Armengol, Sipos and the others don't follow through, because getting a podium here is going to be very difficult from Duncan Hoffland. Even getting a high amount of points is all going to depend on how big of a gap he can build in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely so. If Duncan Hoffman can try and get away, I'm sure Marcus Short won't be defending too hard on Duncan Hoffman, knowing that he has a penalty. It's going to be pretty easy for Marcus. Well, it's going to make life easy, for Duncan Hoffman to get in front. It's just crucial that he stays within that 3 second, which is probably a little bit easier for Marcus Short. So the safety car is in this lap. We're going to have 3 laps of flat out racing until the end. Pablo Armengol in P3. He could be on for a race win. He started 16th on the grid. Was not looking likely for a podium, maybe even points at the start of the race, and now is looking likely for a race win for ETA. It's been a fantastic race from him. 17 left in this race with Rasulas Zildjian, Harlan Marquis and Valen Zetkov, and it's going to go all the way down to the final 3 laps. Hold on tight, this is going to be a very, very tasty one. It's Marcus Short in the lead with Duncan Hoffman in P2, Armengol in P3. This is not over just yet.
It is not over at all. You can see Marcus Short weaving all over the place, trying to build any heat into those medium tyres. He's going to leave it quite late to put the throttle down. There we go. And all things considered, that is not a bad restart at all from the Aston Martin driver. 3 to go in this race. Miklovic is out as well. I think he's retired actually in a crash out the back of the field before he'd even made it towards the checkered flag. We knew it might be chaos after this safety car restart, and that is proving to be the case, but Marcus Short's done the best job he can do here. He's up there. We've got Pedreño trying to go alongside his teammate, and Harvey sending it on the inside of the Alpine driver. Thomas Harvey trying to fight his way up through the field. Him and Pedreño are side by side on the run down towards turn number 4. Who's going to manage to stay ahead? It looks like Pedreño just got his nose ahead here and manages to hold on to that place. Sipos battling with Armengol as well. He's got ahead, but let's not forget he has a 3-second time penalty, but it is still Marcus Short in the lead. Fair play to him as he rounds turn number 7 and 8. Only 2 to go at the end of this one, but now the rest of the pack is starting to catch up, and Sipos is really putting Duncan Hoffland under some pressure. No way is he going for the move into turn 9. No way is that one going to work. Still has the inside line for turn number 10. Patrick Sipos, take your hat off to him. What a move, sir. He's into second. Short leads, 2 to go.
Super Simpos down the inside at the final corner. Beautiful move. And he's looking like to try and take youngster of Marcus Short with 2 laps to go. No DRS until the last lap of this one. Here comes Patrick Simpos down the inside of the TF10 driver. Is he going to outbrake himself? No, he doesn't. He's Patrick Simpos. He gets the job done. Simpos takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix, and now it's crucial that Marcus Short stays within the 3 seconds within these final 2 laps, and he will be a race winner here in TGC. Pablo Armengol and also Villacampa having a little bit of a ding-dong going in the back there as they go side by side through Slosh Gold, and there's a huge crash there. That's Lenny Pepinta in the background spinning off, and a crash there for the front row sitter. Unfortunate to see, he was having such a great Grand Prix, and it's ended with a crash at the end. Unfortunate to see. Lenny Pepinta was on there. Jack Laverty has spun as well. The pole sitter spinning away. I do not believe it. It's all happening chaos in these penultimate laps. He heads to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Patrick Simpos, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 4.197. He's going to have to find 1.3 seconds in this next lap. To try and win this Grand Prix if he can, but he's under pressure. Is Marcus Short from Duncan Hoffland as they make their way up into turn 1. Black Laverty retires in the pit lane. It's not done yet.
It's not over at all. Duncan Hoffland down the inside there. We heard this new build has had a few issues with the penalty system, so who knows, we might see some penalties getting removed here. But now, Patrick Simpos only needs half a second. Contact between Short and Pedredo on the run down towards turn number 4 there, and I think Pedredo's gone off slightly. That's Villacampa now attacking Marcus Short, his teammate. Could Oscar Villacampa take the victory in this race? Could we have a TF10 1-2 as Pedredo and Short are going side by side? Pedredo's got a penalty. Thomas Harvey's trying to get himself involved in this one as well. It is all kicking off on the run down here towards the final few corners between Short, Harvey and Pedredo. Harvey on the back, not able to get alongside. It's going to be Patrick Simpos who crosses the line in first position, but it's going to be Oscar Villacampa who takes the victory by 0.101 seconds. This is second place for Patrick Simpos. Marcus Short holds onto the podium by less than a tenth of a second. A dream result for TF10. We went into the final 5 seconds of that race, never mind the final 5 laps, not knowing who was going to come out on top. And it's Oscar Villacampa who takes the inaugural victory here in the Global Championship.
TF10, what an absolutely fantastic race it was from then. A 1-3 for them, and it is Oscar Villacampa, the first race winner here in TGC. A fantastic race from them. Just Patrick Simpos could not get those 3 seconds on him, but it was so close at the end. It was looking for a TF10 1-2, just didn't happen as there's a lot of battling from Marcus Shaw. He's on for the race win, just couldn't quite hang on. But a fantastic race there from Villacampa. A great drive from Patrick Simpos to get the win on track. Maybe if the penalty situation may play itself, he may get the win back, but we never know. But the fast lap does go to him. But Oscar Villacampa, the race winner, the first race winner here in TGC. A fantastic race from him. And Patrick Simpos in P2, the first fastest lap goes to him with Marcus Short in P3. A brilliant day out for TF10, and also VSR with 4th and 7th as well. FBR from 15th on the grid with Alvaro Puetro getting the job done in P5. A brilliant day for them, alongside ET8 with 6th and 8th. A brilliant day for them, but fantastic drive. TF10 are your leaders going in to Imola in the Constructors' Championship, but what a race that was. And Oscar Villacampa is your first race winner here in TGC.
Yeah, you can see there, Villacampa taking the win. Simpos and Marcus Short rounding out the podium. Thomas Harvey in 4th, Alvaro Puerto in 5th. See the rest of the results just going off the screen there. And I agree, an absolutely brilliant, frenetic end to that race. All starting with the safety car. Ulas Azildrim, we said he was looking good for a podium, possibly even for a win with the penalties. For some of the other drivers, just dropped it on the curb. Very easy to do. And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, all hell broke loose from there. The safety car was the deciding factor in that one, and I knew when the safety car was going to come out, that was the end of the race for Patrick Simpos. I didn't think he was going to win that race when the safety car got deployed. It was looking good. If he had that one extra lap, it probably would have got him the race win. But just that one lap that got him just did not fall into his hands. But a great drive from TF10 and Aston Martin with that 1-3 with Marcus Short in P3, Oscar Villacampa in P1 there. But a great race from whenever, and again, safety car with the deciding factor in that one. But a fantastic final 3 laps we were treated to there, and it is TF10 on the top step of the podium. Obviously, consolidations to Lasse Zildjian as well. He was looking so good for the race win, just couldn't hold it in the end there. But hopefully he'll learn from it in a few races time. But it'll definitely be a massive learning curve going into Imola next week.
Yes, certainly. We'll try and get some of these drivers in then for an interview from the top 3, find out about their different thoughts from that race as well. Quite a few controversial moments in that, quite a few bits of contact, and ADRT and Parnell Racing seem to be the ones who, unfortunately for them, ended up on the worst end of it on a few occasions. Earlier on in the race, we saw Papinta having a few problems. We think Lag might have been involved with that one. Carter Lundy, we missed having his incident off screen. And then there was the moment between Jack Laverty just getting tapped in the back by Pedreno. I'm going to be honest, I'd be surprised if there's not a penalty coming Pedreno's way for that.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting with how the penalties are going to play out. Obviously, everyone is bustling for position. It's going to be tight always in team events. You want your team to win as best you can. But yeah, it's going to be a limit there. But I think there will be a few post-race penalties going out for a few drivers. Just maybe it is a learning curve. Obviously, it is the first round, so everyone is quite new to how everyone drives and how everyone is going to take this championship, and definitely very, very aggressively. But that is a really good, really good way of putting it. As well, very aggressive but very, very fair as well. Hopefully for the next race to come, but hopefully maybe kind of a mute on the penalties as much as they can. Maybe turn it down a little bit, but when the penalties are needed to apply, then there will be a few penalties applied. But hopefully it is a learning curve for a few of the drivers, maybe just to try and close it down a little bit. But a fantastic race from everyone concerned, and it is a great day for TF10 and a great race from all concerned.
Yeah, Marcus's dad getting a bit overexcited in the chat. It was so close to a 1-2 for TF10. In the end, just missing out. We'll quickly show you what the calendar is looking like for the rest of the season. Of course, these dates all getting pushed back 2 weeks with what's happened with the game situation. So it is going to be Imola next time around. We'll be finishing in Brazil around about the end of June. We're expecting it now to be the 21st of June for the Brazilian Grand Prix. So still quite a long way to go for this season. And you've got to say, after that race, we're not really any the wiser about which team is going to be solid favourites. Obviously, we saw Parnell looking quick in qualifying. R8G, we know we're going to be good. Race Clutch looking fantastic. We didn't really predict this from TF10. We said they might be in that next group with VSR. Maybe we need to start talking about them as championship contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. So TF10, obviously, we all know they're an absolutely fantastic team, esports team in them as well. But yeah, we didn't really expect that from them. We were expecting maybe ET8 or R8G to just get away with it from then on. But it was absolutely not the case, and a fantastic day for TF10 there, and a lot of other esports teams. ET8 will be very, very happy with how their race went off, alongside VSR as well. Race Clutch as well, looking likely for a 1-2 at that time, but they'll be very, very happy with Patrick Sipos' P2 there, getting the job done on the podium. But yeah, it is a great day for TF10, top of the standings, 1 and 3 for them, with 25 and 15 points going to them. 1 point going to the Race Clutch for the 1 extra point, sorry, with the faster lap going to them. But yeah, fantastic day for TF10 and a lot of the other smaller esports teams, if you like, from the likes of R8G and Race Clutch. But yeah, fantastic day and a fantastic advert for esports organisations.
Yeah, certainly, and might be a bit more touring cars than what we'd have liked, some of the racing, but you can't deny it does make things a bit more exciting. Other teams that have got good results as well, ET8, I believe, definitely getting one of their drivers into the points, even though Armengo did get shuffled down the order a bit later on. Moldovan as well. They just kept their nose clean when so many others around them weren't able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what you need in league racing. Sometimes you just need to keep your nose clean, and the good results will come. You don't really need to be extremely aggressive. You just need to pick your moments where to take an overtake, just when know when to defend, when to attack, and all that. And ETA did that very very well, and deserved with the good points going towards them, and definitely will be very very happy with those P4 in the championship. Maybe even higher if penalties are applied in their favour. So it's definitely going to be very very interesting how all the post races turn out. But a great day for ETA as well. But yeah. Great day for everyone. Really, that's the only way to put it, and it should be a fantastic final 9 races we have involved. If the first race is like that, I cannot wait for the rest of the season.
Yeah, certainly. Really looking forward to what we're going to see over the next 9 weeks. We've already mentioned briefly, next week it is going to be Imola. We're following the real Formula 1 round at the Autodromo Enzo A. Dino Ferrari. Arguably one of the trickiest tracks on the game, certainly from the races I've commentated on. It's just going to be about keeping it nice and clean there. It's a real old school circuit. You run slightly wide, you're finding the grass, you're finding the gravel, you're possibly finding the barriers.
Yeah, definitely. So you're gonna have to be very, very careful with how you treat Imola as well. So yeah, it's one of the old school tracks, one of an absolute favourite of mine as well. So a lot of history on that track, but it's yeah, one mistake and that is it for you, and you will find yourself in the wall, in the gravel, in the grass, losing positions, losing qualifying positions as well. So it's definitely going to be very, very interesting how people turn that up. But obviously, you have to be very, very careful. No little tricks as well you can do at the final corner with the DRS. So hopefully, there's no tricks with that. But yeah, it should be a fantastic event next week, and cannot wait to get underway next week at Imola.
Yeah, definitely make sure to tune in for that one. Qualifying and the race will be live at 7 p.m. next week. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get anyone joining us for the interviews. I think, if we're being honest, they're still too busy arguing. It's getting quite heated. Yeah. Let's put it that way at the moment. The manager's trying to do the best to calm things down after what was a very interesting first race of the season. I think some frustrations that have come out after having to wait a couple of weeks, but the race certainly delivered for TF10. They take the lead of the championship. Oscar Villacampa taking the victory with Marcus Short in third place. Patrick Sipos missing out on becoming the first ever winner here in TGC by just over a tenth of the second. Thanks to Josh for joining me in the commentary box. Thanks to GT Omega as well, who do power this stream, so make sure to check them out as well. Thanks all to you guys for watching, and we will see you in a week at Imola for the second round of TGC. For myself and Josh, thanks for joining us, and goodbye.